Okay, good afternoon and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube, The Real Me. I'm doing chapter number 18 over here. The title of the chapter is Strive for the Most, Be Happy with the Least. The basic premise of this chapter is that we've been discussing most of the Sefer has to talk about with the basic premise that you should be enjoying your life, happy with your life, fulfilled in your life, yet there's so many deterrents to that. Here he talks about the drive that everybody has to be successful in life. He talks about the drive in the Gashmias and materialistic world, and also in your spiritual drive. How people are generally striving to do good, because if you don't strive, you're not going to get anywhere in life. Most people will strive to make some achievements, whether it be in the materialistic realm or in the spiritual realm. The problem, he notes, is that oftentimes when we strive for these things, it just produces, we might reach milestones. He says in the materialistic world, when you become a doctor, you reach certain milestones. You graduate medical school, you get your internship, you become a doctor at a hospital. You might become eventually the head of that unit in that ward in the hospital. Maybe it's a pretty big achievement. Maybe you become Dr. Fauci one day. I don't even want to become Dr. Fauci. You'll become pretty respected, and there'll be milestones along which help you in your progress, because those milestones generally mark joyous occasions and you could celebrate them. In Ruchnius and spirituality, it's a little different, because he talks about changing your midos, right? Change your midos. It's not hard. It could take years for you to change your midah of getting angry. You might, hold yourself back for a while, but eventually you'll burst out at your kids. I don't know if I agree with this, because I don't think you can change the midah. That's my perspective. But under normal circumstances, even if you work on it for many years. But there is spiritual goals that you could achieve. They have this kollel of Shaskidin. I don't know if you know what this is. This is it's a burgeoning movement. They take out 2 pages in Mishpacha magazine every week, where they have, I think they have like 100 Avreicha who get paid very decently, and they learn Shas like, I don't know, 5 or 6 times a year. They go through Shas. They take tests on it. They have these public examinations by big rabbanim over there. They do this, I don't know, on the internet. I think they even posted these faheres, these tests, these oral tests that they get. They're extremely bright people, these people. To say that they don't, when you make a siyum on a sefta, when you make a siyum on Shas, well, there's certainly milestones that you reach that you could celebrate. So I don't know if I agree with him that spirituality you can't celebrate. You could celebrate. And he brings from the Stipler at the end of the chapter. So the Stipler says that you should be happy. Every tosos that you learn, you should celebrate. Every tosos that you learn. Kol tosos shalomno mevino hu atzlacha, the Stipler says. Any tosos that you learn and you understand, it's atzlacha, it's success. But he says at the end of the day, no matter how much we try, we're still pretty miserable. What can we do? So he says, like a lot of the answers he says in this book, is that you have to think of what Chazal say, that the Gemara in Kedushin says. Yeah, in 10 minutes. That's the code. Yeah, you can sit, yeah. So a person always has to olam yira adam asmo kilu chatzio chaya b'chatzio zakai asa mitzvah achas ashro shechriya es atzmo v'es kolam l'kav skos asa vera achas oilo shechriya atzmo v'es olam l'kav chov. He says the world is in a constant balance. If you do one mitzvah, you tilt the whole world in the positive direction. He says obviously this is just a mashal. It's not really like that. You're not really saving the world. But we really have to think about that. And, if you think about that, that'll be a great thing. The second thing he says to keep in mind is from the Chovos HaLevavos and Shar B'Tachon. He says the service of Hashem is divided into 3 parts. Number 1, being committed to do what is right and generally wanting to do good. Number 2, deciding to do the right thing, exercising a will to do a certain specific act of goodness. And number 3, doing the actual deed. And he says of these 3 things, only 2 are really in your control. Right, and generally you should be committed to doing the right thing and deciding to do the right thing. However, whether it actually plays out, you're actually successful in accomplishing what you wanted to do, is not in your hands. It's in the hands of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. And this, actually, I really do agree with. I talked about in Ksuvos Daf Yomi Shir, and the Ian Shir and Daf Yomi, and the Pension Ksuvos Daf Lamed. It's Machlokas and the Chovas Levavos and Tosfos over there whether you could actually kill someone. If you want to kill someone, can you kill that person? So he said, the Tosfos says, sure, you can do whatever you want. Chazal says not so fast. You can only do what Hashem wants you to do, right? You might think you want to do it, but Hashem change your mind at the last second, or he'll make circumstances impossible to kill the person. So you can't do what you want to do. I believe the Chazal is right. Everyone says the Tosfos is right and the Chazal is wrong. I believe the Chazal is right. It's true. It's true that you can't control what's going to be going on. And he does mention the Gemara, really, which talks about this whole topic, this whole chapter, which he doesn't address completely. He says the Gemara says Lokume Girsa Siyat Mishamaya. Agaf Panoi? Okay. Alright, we're just gonna move for a second to a different room because they're doing a Yom Kippur Katan. If you know what that is. Most people don't know what Yom Kippur Katan is. I'm not so familiar with it. It's basically like having Yom Kippur before every Rosh before Rosh Chodesh. So we're gonna move for now to a different room. If you want to have Erev Rosh Chodesh, Yom Kippur Katan in your shul, talk to the rabbi. It's worth it. You say an extra 30 minutes of davening before every Rosh Chodesh. It's like Yom Kippur. You can do slichos every day. So if you're, Elul's not enough for you, and you're not Sephardi, you don't get enough Elul, slichos, and stuff like that, you can join the movement. It's a new movement in Klal Yisrael, Yom Kippur Katan. It's going to be going on here in another 5 minutes. So we're going to move here to this dark room over here. I got to turn the lights on. Bear with me a second. The lights are on. All right. So let's get started. Let's continue. Let's continue with this. All right. So, a little different background. It's a nicer background. Some nice white curtains. All right. So we're back to discussing not Yom Kippur Katan. Whether you need Yom Kippur Katan, he does not talk about in this chapter. So I want to talk about. So he's saying over here, I believe the correct. Right, I mentioned the correct view. I think is the Cholos Halvavos. He mentions the Gemara in Megillah. Okim Girsa Siatim and Shemaya. This is the Gemara that talks about Egati Matzasi. Everyone's familiar with this Gemara. The Gemara in Megillah says Egati Matzasi Tamin. Right? If you strive and you find you're successful, you should believe the person. The Gemara says it's very limited. It only applies lechadude when it comes to analyzation of the Gemara. To be sharper when it comes to learning Gemara. Maybe even not Gemara, but it seems the Gemara is talking about learning Gemara. Lokmi Girsa, remember what you learned. That's not in your control. And the Gemara says also Mili Da'alma, right? Business deal, not in your control. So it's important to keep that in mind. If these things are not in your control, I'll share two stories. First, I'm not sure to share the story about somebody else or share my story. First, I'll start with my personal anecdote. If you listen to one of my interviews, right, with Jewish Money, we talked about a little bet that we had. At the end, we were each putting $3,000 into the stock market, and we gave ourselves a year to decide who is gonna prosper more with the $3,000. Who's a better stock trader, me or Shmuel with was a Rosh Kolel here. So I'm gonna give you a little update. He put his $3,000. He didn't actually. He had a big portfolio worth hundreds of thousands of dollars, but he said he's earmarking a certain stock, Upstart stock. That's what he said. It was worth $85 at that time. $3,000 of Upstart stock, and he wanted to add $3,000 to see how it's done in a year. So currently, Upstart stock is worth around $27 a share. I had $3,000. Most of it was in Twitter at that time, actually. Now, if you know about what's going on with Twitter and Elon Musk, the reason I put my money in Twitter is because it was, at that point, where it was close to right before he actually made the original deal, for $54.20 a share. So I bought it on $50 a share, like 40 shares, whatever. And I held on to it. The next day after the deal went through, I'm like, oh, I want to cash out. But you know what? Stock market, they wouldn't let me cash out. It still was trading, Twitter, and everyone knows what's going on. Twitter is down now to around $40. So it's been down to 37, down to 40. The deal, is basically through. They pulled out of the deal. They're trying to sue him to get the deal back. So I ended up losing a bunch of money, but I sold because I want to win the bet. So I took the loss. I lost like $500. So I said, so my next purchase, I purchased the stock Bed Bath & Beyond. Now, if anyone's following the stock market recently, it was around $6 at Bed Bath & Beyond. Bed Bath & Beyond was around $6. I don't know why I picked Bed Bath & Beyond. I said it's like a value stock, Bed Bath & Beyond, it's a good company. I remember going there in America. It's a good store. $6 per share. I mean, other, Target, Walmart, other stores, like that, they have much higher stock prices. So this is a great investment. And you know what? 2 days after I bought the stock, the stock became the latest meme stock. In 2 days, literally, it went from $6 to around $11. In 2 days, I put $2,000 into that stock. I bought on 300 shares. In 2 days, I had made around $2,000. It's pretty good. In 2 days to make $2,000. However, I reminded myself from the last wave of meme stocks where I had in the stock market. I bought AMC, which is a different meme stock, a while ago. And I only had like 18 shares. It skyrocketed like triple, like 300% in 1 day. But instead of selling at that point, I bought more. I thought it would keep on going up forever and ever, and it didn't. And I ended up losing money on it. So this time I said, you know what? I learned from my past mistakes. I sold the stock at a profit around $2,000. That's pretty good, So I was up to around, $4,500. I had lost some money, so around $4,500, $3,000. Doing better than I would though. And I sold it $11, and I was really thrilled with it. But then, I thought it was done. I'm like, this is like AMC is gonna go back down. But you know what? It kept on going up and up and up, and I kept on having the opportunities. I swing trade, so I'll buy a stock for all my money in the stock for like 2 days, and then I'll sell it, hopefully at a profit. If it's a really bad loss, I won't sell it. So hopefully for a profit, 2 days, I'll sell it. But what happened is just keep on going, Bed Bath & Beyond. And I had numerous opportunities to keep on buying back in, and I kept on saying, no, it's going to go down, it's going to go down. And it ended up going from $6 to around $24, maybe $28 in the middle of 1 day of trading. I could have sold it around $25. I could have made 400%. I could have made $8,000. I didn't. And even though I had made $2,000 off of it, and I was trading other stocks at the time, and I had made money off the other stocks. I was making $100 a day, $200 a day. But I kept on looking at Bed Bath & Beyond. I couldn't be happy with the $2,000 I made. What could have been if I would have I would have gone back in on the stock. I would have kept the stock and not sold it. I would have made another $8,000. That's the way we are. We're focused. We're so focused on looking at the bad, looking at what we could have had, and not what we did have. And I kept trying to myself, $2,000 is a lot of money. I made $2,000 in 2 days, But on the other hand, it's like, what could have been? And it ate at me. And I'll bring in, just to support this, an interview that was done by my colleague, another guy who posts videos on YouTube, Kosher Money. We did an interview with this rabbi, Benjamin Bleck, rabbi from Oceanside, and teacher at YU. He wanted to make some money when he was older in the stock market, to make decent money. So he didn't make so much money in the rabbinate when he retired around 60 years old. He wanted to make it big in the stock market, and within a 12-month period, he made $7 million. He ended up losing it, almost all of it, because he couldn't sell. He couldn't pull out. He thought it would go back up. Like everyone thinks, you gotta learn how to sell in the market. we're never happy with what we have. $7 million would be great, $7 sell. $7 million, you could live nicely the rest of your life. Like 60 years old, you could live really nicely for the rest of his life. But you always want to make more. You're never happy. You're never satisfied with what you have, and that's a really big problem that we all have, especially in the materialistic world. We always want more. The spiritual world is always also like that. People who sit in kollel and learn, they want to learn more. They want to put in extra hours, and they want to become a bigger rabbi. I was reading an article in Mishpacha magazine about this Rabbi Elephant, Moshe Elephant. He's head of kashrus at the OU. He already gives a big daf yomi shir, not as good as mine. And he's a head of kashrus at the OU. He took on being a rabbi in shul recently. His wife is like, "Why do you need to know? You're not busy enough." He said, "Another opportunity. I want to do more." Everyone wants to do more. They're not satisfied. They look at whatever they have. They don't look at positively. They always want more. People always want more. So you're never really happy with what you have. So. And that's what the Gemara says, that it's not in your hands. The only thing that's in your hands is the chadude, which is making decisions, analytics, which is using your mind. That you can sharpen your mind. You could sharpen your mind, and you could become more analytical. I'm sorry about the background noise, but all these people seem to have moved in. Yom Kippur Katan is taken away the shul. This is the only room where it's available over here. Sorry about the background noise, but what I'm trying to say is that the only thing we have control over on is making decisions, and analytics and thinking and sharpening your mind is part of that decision making, right? When you make decisions and you're a professional decision maker, your mind becomes more analytical. And also in learning, I wouldn't say just learning, any analytical approach, you become a smarter, more analytical person. So that's really the only thing we can control. And I want to tie it into this week's Parshas Re'eh. Parshas Re'eh, it says, Re'eh nasati lachem, es habracha v'es hakala, es hachayim, es hatov, es hachayim, es hatov, I don't remember what it says exactly, but something says, es hachayim, es hatov, es hamav, es hara. Right? So what's bracha? Right? Is it good or chayim? So the answer is that it's really the same thing. That real chayim, real life, it says in Pirkei Avos, Ezu Ashir Sameach B'Chalko, who is considered a rich person, someone who is happy in his chelek. So I said once when I gave a siyum on Masechet Shabbos, when I was 20 years old, I made a siyum on Masechet Shabbos, a big thing in the shul over there. I had my own chiddush over there. Ezu Ashir Sameach B'Chalko, the smallest unit of time in the Torah is a chelek. A chelek is a couple of seconds. If you're familiar with when they announce the new mola, they say 23 halakim after chatzos and whatever they say. Halakim is a couple of seconds. You have to be present in the present. You can't think about the past too much, and you can't think about the future too much. Your main focus has to be in the present, and that's chayim. Chayim, real life, is being in the moment. How are you in the moment? Meaning, there's two things, like we're discussing in Shulchan Aruch Yomi. Either you're doing one of two things in the present. Either you're making a decision, you have to decide, which is difficult. This decision making is very difficult. It's very hard to constantly make decisions, but that's our chiyuv in life. That's the only thing we can do in life is make decisions and be bent on making decisions. And if you're not making decisions, you're dead. So you can make decisions, which is difficult. Decisions like making very difficult, but you can feel successful if you made the right decision and made the wrong decision. You can still do tshuva. You can regret it, try to regret it, and fix it and move on. Or you can be in a situation where you're enjoying something in the world, and when you're enjoying something, Hashem doesn't want you to make decisions. When you're eating a meal, when you're doing something you enjoy, playing sports, Hashem doesn't want you to make decisions all the time. Hashem wants you to enjoy that. You'll make decisions afterwards about what you did right or wrong. So living in the moment is such an important thing, and that's really the only way to really get out of this problem. He talks about it in this chapter. He says, strive for the most, be happy with the least. It's not, I don't know, it's about striving for the most, be happy with the least. I would say it's more being in the present. You have to be in the present. You have to be in the present, in making decisions, right? Hachayim es hatov, es hamav es hara. Hachayim is life. Life is right now. That's how you assess life. Is the person living right now, right? You don't live based on the fact that you lived 10 minutes ago, because it could be you're dead now. And you don't live what you're going to be in 10 minutes, because you could also be dead from now, 10 minutes from now. So you have to live in the present. Hachayim is only in the present. So, in terms of striving for the most and be happy with the least, you shouldn't be thinking about your goals all the time. There is time for that. Shimon asked you the time to think about your goals, but ideally you should be focused on the present, and that's really the only way to live life. It's tough to make decisions, but you'll be happy, you'll feel satisfied when you make the decisions, and eventually one day you'll be such a professional decision maker, you'll always enjoy life, you'll always be happy, you'll be an olam haba, you're enjoying yourself every second, every moment. And that's really the only way to achieve happiness. Think about it, right? Just to have, milestones is not a way to always be happy. If you want to be truly happy in life, you have to be happy every second, right? If you're happy once a day, then another 23 hours you're not happy. So you have to be happy every second. The only way to do that is to completely dominate the present, be in the present. And then you won't be looking, I made $2,000. Yeah, in the present I made $2,000. You know what? Bad Bath & Beyond went up another $2,000. I could have made $2,000 today, but you know what? I made $100 today from ExxonMobil. I had ExxonMobil stock. I made $100 today on ExxonMobil stock. That was pretty good. Think about that. You have to get into the habit of thinking, of living in the present. That's really the only way to get out of this. I don't know if strive for the most and be happy with the least. The only way to really do that is not really to strive for the most. Don't think about the future and just be happy with what you have now. That's the only way. You can't control what happens in the world. You can only control the present, your decision making, and your enjoyment and focus on the present. That's the advice I have for people over here. Hope you enjoyed today's share. See you in the next one.